Hello, welcome to my channel. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a series, 7 videos. It'll be for the alchemical process. So from step 1 of calcination, which is the dark night of the soul, all the way to step 7, which is coagulation, which is the spiritual gold. So this first one, hopefully they're not going to be too long videos, but we'll see. We'll do a little bit of tarot just to get a little bit of insight. But essentially, calcination is the alchemical process of heating something to such a high degree to burn away impurities, to obviously reveal a more purer form of solution. If we put that into Dark Night of the Soul context, this is the burning away of the ego, of the false self, of, the disillusionment of the beliefs our ego holds. This could be, we start to question our reality, bringing confusion. It's a process that is not easy. It's a process that requires a lot of softness, going easy on yourself. A process that has us facing our deepest fears, our deepest insecurities. It's a process where our insecurities and doubts in life come very much to the surface. It's a process where we have to recognize self-sabotaging tactics, where we have to realize where we hold stubbornness, a little bit of arrogance, pride possibly, we all do, so it's just a process. So we'll start with a little glimpse of what Black Moon Lilith Oracle deck speaks of calcination. It's the straw that broke the camel's back. It's the spark of internal grief when your partner lies to you for the umpteenth time, or the anger that comes from a snide remark from a toxic boss. You finally have had enough of the traffic heading downtown and now have the fierce motivation to move to a new city. Calcination in alchemy occurs when you finally have a reckoning with what no longer is in alignment with you. This feels like an uncomfortable and intense dark night of the soul. Your ego feels unsupported by your reality, and you must experience a metaphorical death to be reborn. Calcination is the first step in the practice of alchemy associated with the lead planet Saturn, where you start and work your way inward toward the goal of the gold of the sun. So Saturn is the planet of lessons, it's karma. It invokes the fire element linked with the divine masculine zodiac sign of Aries. It is the practice of burning down and adding heat to material or a solution to strip it down to its original state. A difficult life event, challenge, or roadblock can trigger you to begin this sacred process of soul ascension. While this is the beginning of your alchemical journey, it's an extremely necessary first step to progress to higher states of consciousness. So the first thing you can do is integrate the first step of calcination by identifying what should be purged in your life. Take a moment to journal your thoughts and emotions during this process. Prepare for an ego death or shedding of your old self. Allow the ashes to fall away so that your true self remains. Okay, now that a difficult life event, challenge or roadblock, it's actually created by our higher selves. As much as that may seem difficult to grasp and understand, but it's a situation which becomes unbearable to continue, and it's created by your higher self because it's the only way we have no choice but to surrender to change. Because at the end of the day, if you've got a soul contract, we'll call it, to go through this process, we don't seek change unless it's thrust upon us. If life is like, okay, yeah, it's what it is, I go to work every day, etc., 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 I do my mundane activities. If you're supposed to do something more in this lifetime, you're not going to randomly go, okay, right, yeah, I'm going to do it now. It's something has to happen. There's a force, there's a change. So we're going to get the insights of the tarot. We're going to take the energy of calcination. We're going to take a message from your higher self. We're going to take a message from your lower self. We're going to take the energy of the recent past which caused this process, your advice and your potential outcome which moves you to the next stage. In this process, one of the best, if you connect with spirit guides or spirit animals, do consider the Black Panther. So Black Panther is a spirit that revels in the unknown, has zero fear, and looks at the unknown as a really good place, unknown territory as something where a new beginning has to emerge, because that's where creation is. A seed grows in darkness. A child is born in the womb in darkness. Greatest things start in darkness. So let's do one more. So the energy behind calcination is adjustment, justice, the balancing of the scales. Interesting. And if we take, it's Libra energy. Justice is aspects of contracts. It rules contracts. So this could be a soul contract that I came here to do this at this time. One day I will dive into a project where I'll look at different people that have gone through this process and when it happened, and I'll check that against their charts. So it'd be interesting to see if there's any sort of astrological connections with this. I do believe there will be. It'll be something to do with the 12th house, 8th house, or possibly Pluto transits, Lilith transits, activations in vertex. There'll be something, I'm sure, but that's further down the line. So we're starting with justice. Interesting, when we read that, this process is actually linked to Saturn. Now, what's Saturn in Libra in the tarot is the Three of Swords: sorrow, despair, frustration, anger, sadness. It's a process where something happens to gets us to start this whole journey. Your higher self wants you to know your lower self. Okay. Recent past that started this. Interesting. Your advice. And then I wondered why I had to grab this deck. There you go. Okay, bottom of the deck is happiness, the Nine of Cups. So I'm taking that in a couple of ways. So the Nine of Cups is, in this deck, is called happiness. But normally when this whole process starts is because we're seeking happiness everywhere but where we should. Within yourself. It happens. We're seeking through other avenues. People, material, whatever it is. We're seeking it outside of ourselves. Which usually indicates that first stage where it's like, my soul wants more here. Your soul's saying something very, very different to the reality that you play in. It's also Jupiter in Pisces, and this is what tends to happen. The Wheel of Fortune spins, fate. If you want this happiness, if you want this satisfaction of the Nine of Cups, that wish fulfillment, then the wheel is going to spin you, Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter, to Pisces, the Hangman. So the Wheel of Fortune hits the Hangman, stalls. What happens after the Hangman? Card 12 to card 13, death. Interestingly, okay, in this deck it's card 8, but justice is card 11. It's that point. It's that point normally where we go from the Wheel of Fortune to get to the Hangman, the Nine of Cups. Justice is in between. So it's like it's time. Death is the process. Death is that beginning of change thrust upon us. Your higher self wants you to know the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is a nurturing card. It's empathy. It's the ability to channel the higher self. It's the ability to connect with your higher self. Interestingly, there's a message here about maybe the people in your environment won't quite understand what you're going through. They may sympathise, but they won't quite get or grasp what you're going through. So it's really important during this stage to... So consistency is really hard when you've nobody clapping for you. And it's really important right now to remember to either clap for yourself or to know that your higher self or your ancestors are screaming your name right now. Keep going. keep going. This is a process. We know we came here to do this. Don't forget. I'm also seeing it as with the lotuses here. It reminds us of the Buddhist quote, you know, used many times. It's a very useful. Oh my God, you wouldn't think I was English, would you, at all? Useful phrase to work through this. No mud, no lotus. It's a phrase that reminds us that it's through facing and overcoming difficulties, challenges, the suffering that we have to endure, allows us to be able to grow, learn, and reach a stage of peace, contentment, and beauty. Because a lotus is beautiful and it grows in impurities, but it emerges. What we're not aware of, what your higher self is saying, is there's impurities. 7 of Cups. In this deck is debauchery, but look at the stagnancy of that. It's almost acidic. It's almost poison. Something needs to purge. Something needs to be released. What happened in the recent past is the Star card. I kind of feel like it's something to do with alignment. I would love to dive into that. I wish I had the answer for you there. I think it's alignment. It's also Uranus, the Great Awakener. It's time to awaken. The Star card could be, it's a card of healing. It's a card of hope. It's a card of faith. Maybe there was a lack of faith. Maybe there was a seeking of wish fulfillments. 2 cards of wish fulfillment. But something has to happen to get that. In its negative aspect, the Star card is the fear of abandonment, the fear of loss, the fear of, illness, whatever it is. Your advice is the 10 of Pentacles. In this deck, it's called Wealth, but I kind of feel like it's saying here, it's Mercury in Virgo, so the Magician meets the Hermit. To be Alchemy, the Magician, we have to see it within the Hermit. We have to go within. We have to take the lessons. We have to go through this process to turn you into gold. It's also saying there's a wealth of information out there. It's saying seek support. It's saying practice mindfulness. It's saying practice, for me, I'm a great ambassador for yoga. Best way to calm the mind, to be present. It's telling you to ground your energy, making sure that you're staying in that present moment, not focused on the future too much, not worried about what's happened in the past, staying in that present moment while all this chaos is happening. It's asking you to look for the silver linings in the lessons that Saturn brings. Your outcome is the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords in this deck, she severs what no longer serves her. It's not technically representation of her, but for me personally, it's Kali Ma written all over her. She's got a sword in one hand and a severed head in the other. Now, the Queen of Swords cuts away what no longer serves her, and she does it abruptly. She knows what needs to be done, and she goes ahead and does it. It's linked to Kali Ma, like I say, and there's a message, and I don't know which deck. It's either the Goddesses, Gods and Guardians, or it's the Yogic Path. Let's grab the Yogic Path. Seeing as I just mentioned yoga a minute ago. Page 99. Goddess of destruction, dissolution, and ecstasy. You draw upon Kali when you are in a time of radical rebirth. She is fierce, erratic, untamed, the part of you that you're afraid to give full control because you don't know where it will take you. She will destroy all disillusion and bring you face to face with your darkest shadows, not to cause anguish, but rather from a deep place of love. She demolishes the ego that creates the boundary between you and your highest self. She is the ecstasy experienced in an orgasm, meditation, bold self-expression, or pushing a child out of the womb. Kali comes to you in a time of deep liberation, stepping into the truer form of you. Trust the process and allow yourself to release all limitations so that you can become one with the bliss that you are. Reversed, look in the mirror. What is it that you are afraid to see? We all have parts of us that are less than perfect, but they can only be brought into the light through acknowledgement. Recognize these shadows, why they came to be, the purpose they once had, and how they are no longer needed. Write down the limiting beliefs you are holding on to that are preventing you from reaching your higher truth and burn them into flames. Shake your body, scream, clear your house, let go of stale relationships, practice self-pleasure, free the parts of you that have been suppressed and step into your wild nature to experience Kali's enlightenment. Wow. Let's get that Black Blue Lilith card. Whoa. Yeah, Uranus, the Great Awakener. This is a situation, that star card represents Uranus, and it's also with your North Node. It's part of your destiny. So again, this isn't for everybody. This isn't the Joe Blogs down the street. This is people that have contracts to do this. You came here to go through this process. You came here to be your spiritual gold. Just a quick look at Uranus. When this card shows up, expect the unexpected. A shake-up is coming to bring change in your life. Uranus is indicating that something or someone is keeping you stuck. Now the universe is making the move for you. Where have you felt misaligned? Uranus teaches us to embrace unpredictability and change. Okay? It's all part of your path. It's all part of your process. Okay? See you in part 2.